I'm gonna turn my volume up, and I will turn your volume up.
You're pushing the buttons.
I'm pushing buttons now. Going live in 3,
2, 1.
And okay, you're good. It's going.
Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads. And welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussion. We have extra guests with us today, so we're going to try and keep it less cacophonous. Also, if you're watching this on Twitch, which, Kane, would you please monitor the Twitch chat in case someone gets on it?
It's still the game they were just running.
Okay. So, once you got, we are glad that everybody is here for our Around the Hearth. However, first things first, let's get our announcements out of the way. Always less than 5 minutes. You can time me. Here we go. The Inn of Planar Crossroads and Black Dragon Gaming are both having their Patreons still going on. The Patreons for those have their own individual goals. So if you want to know those, go over and check. The one-shot for the 400 should be coming along probably after the holidays. Will be the best, most likely time that it will be getting run. And as far as any other announcements, if you like this type of thing where we are able to stream it onto Twitch as well as put it onto YouTube, the edited version onto YouTube, let us know. Also, we are considering a change for our main game where we break it up into 1 hour sessions, 1 hour segments versus a whole long segment. So let us know how you would like that. And that's all I have for announcements. Tommy, what about you?
I can add a thing. I would say definitely, excuse me, not done yet. I do need to cast decongestion. I think you should cut your sessions to an hour-long thing because not only does that give people time to get up and go to the bathroom in between sessions and refresh and stuff, it's so much easier to have regular content when you have several. I have 8 weeks back of the session that just ended, and we missed the last 2, but only Twitch knows. Anyway, I guess the only thing I have to say is I'll just continue to take into the victory lap and say that Black Dragon Gaming is officially a YouTube partner. So that's sweet.
There you go.
Not rich yet, but it's a step in the right direction. And I just thank everybody for helping out and stuff. And I guess this isn't my channel, but I will say Josh and Ross and Adam now. Well, thank you so much for your support on Patreon, because a lot of high tier patrons are in this chat right now. Jason was going to be too, but someone doesn't want a 7-man party, and I suppose that's fair.
That's fair on a discussion. Because there's no
we
DM
invite you into our house, and you take your big old YouTube penis out, and you just flop it on my shoulder.
You like it.
Oh my!
Yeah. So, all that said,
that one in a while.
Oh my. Let's go ahead and get into our actual chat. As far as anything goes for the chat, guys, make sure you're muted if you're not talking. Otherwise, let's get into it. So, I will start the screen share for everybody that is currently looking at the video chat only. And should start screen sharing for you guys soon. Let me know when it pops up for you guys.
I don't remember there being a lag on the screen share.
No? Is it working for y'all?
No, it is not.
It surely is not.
Uh-oh.
I don't have image because I don't trust my internet.
That's fair.
His internet's a spying on him.
It doesn't.
Well, I mean, that's cookies.
Well, technically...
Yeah, I actually mean that I go robotic if I actually get images from you guys most of the time.
That's fair.
Well, I'm still getting audio from you guys, but not video, which doesn't necessarily matter for the recording, but it matters for those watching on Twitch. So, we'll give it a few seconds. We'll do a recap on what's happened so far, because Tommy wasn't here last time. So we'll do a recap on it. We named, we had several cities all put on the map and stuff like that last time, for those that didn't watch. So as a recap for them and for those that are guests, we named the main city Eddard's Hold after one of Kane's old
after a man
PCs.
with a sling.
No, that was his brother Jedediah. We've been over this.
Fair enough.
And then there were 2 cities at the lower fork of the mountain range. We named one of them Foothold, and one of them Shinneker, which was a bastardization of Shin Kicker, which was which is a direct translation of a dwarven name that was for a clan of dwarves that got a reputation for kicking giants in the shins, so that they're with bladed and spiked boots, so that their heads would swing downward, so that they could get a battle axe into their skull. So
it's just a clan of Titan Hall barbarians.
yeah.
Oh, good.
The
Clan of people who do, in fact, indeed live.
Yes. The main city is for the dwarves and the mining at the very apex of that, or intersection of that forking mountain range, is Eldon Hon, which Kane assured us was not just an elaborate mispronunciation of Elton John. And
I don't know that I assured you it wasn't that.
I was, those people. This is for people that didn't watch, yo. They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't
I didn't
know
know that Elton John wasn't there. That man is a treasure.
So, in between Foothold and Eddard's Hold, there is a rather pompously named Fort Guardhold Barracks and Training Ground, because we just thought it had to have so many forts and holds and barracks in that name. It's about directly in between those two, and it acts as a training ground for the different guards and stuff like that are trained to make sure that the southernmost portion of this, the southern threat, whatever that southern threat is, doesn't creep too far up. They have to have extra guards on this southern border. The 2 cities on the right of the screen that are decided to be Elven, or at least named Elven cities, are Ilya and Hoeda. And then the farthest city away from Eddard's Hold is Fargon, because once you've gone that far north, you are too far gone. So,
and Bilbo Baggins is waiting to kill you, or however Fargo goes.
I don't know. The road goes ever on and on. Sometimes, right down from the door where it began.
Down from the door where it began.
And far ahead, the road has gone.
Man, I need to watch Lord of the Rings again. I was talking about that with Lucia yesterday. It's been too long since I binged Lord of the Rings.
I binged it over the Christmas break. But are you guys seeing yet?
I've seen nothing.
We're still screen sharing.
Okay,
you might try to turn it off and turn it back on again. Have you tried that one?
Don't think it's a good idea for me to leave the chat.
No, don't leave the chat. I mean, like, turn off the screen share. Turn the screen share on.
I was going to say, I can see the chat.
We just can't see anything you're sharing.
Okay, well, I cannot turn it on and back off again because Google Hangouts is not responding.
Oh,
so.
Oh no.
No. Yeah. Well, that would probably affect your ability to do just about anything.
Well, I guess I'm gonna go open up Incarnate, and we're gonna make.
Man, Tommy, this war with technology is spreading quick.
Yeah, it's been a rough session. It's been a rough 3 hours with us.
Yeah. Steam tried to sabotage our last game.
We ran out of steam.
Okay. Well, if it recovers, then awesome. If not, I guess the Twitch watchers will get to see it visually that way.
Almost as if their mind was a theater.
Yes. All right. Hopefully it will recover soon enough. If not, we will see what happens. We may have to have some drops or not. I don't know. But this first part that we're going to discuss is not necessarily one we have to have visuals for, because those that have been watching know that this place, that this particular area is kind of in a Great Lakes area. It gets very cold there, but they have these really cool, very cold waters, and a large lake in the north, a large lake to the lower left-hand corner of the map, and then the lower right-hand corner of the map has a lake that connects almost directly to the ocean to be able to be accessed that way. But it is still fresh/briny water this far in at Eddard's Hold in the southernmost area. So, with all of this water, Levi's suggestion was that we make we put an aquatic race in here. Did you have any specific ideas on which type of aquatic race you were thinking, Levi?
So, the main thing that really needs to happen is they need some format of cold resistance. Other than that, I don't have too many specifics. I want them to have some format of society, so there's some possibility of interesting interactions between them and other cultures. I would say that's all that's like really important. As like a core across them, I have like a fun image of a specific one that could be, but like I'm not stuck to it.
Okay, so are we thinking legs or no legs?
I'm good either way, but the version that's in my head has legs.
Okay.
Perhaps like legs with like flippers then.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you could tag something onto Gilman.
Or like a Triton.
Now, are we saying that they have to be fishmen, or can they be any type of semi-aquatic or semi-aquatic creature?
Well, I mean, what are you suggesting?
I'm just thinking, there's Walrus-men in
There are
certain
there are the Undying.
Okay. Walrus-men actually fit my mental image of
see?
large, blubbery barbarian men.
Yes.
Gigantic mustaches.
Yeah. Gigantic.
We're the feathers
bristly
part of the world with
mustaches.
our mustaches. We're all witches and we cast the prehensile hair hex. Which is
With
actually
giant
kind of a good
floppy
hex.
feet.
So
Especially
it's-
underwater.
Yeah.
You want to deal with grappling rules underwater? Enjoy. Ha.
Three-dimensional grappling. It's not as fun as it sounds.
I mean, it is.
Or
just
it's
gonna
more
take-
fun than it sounds.
It's going to take like 10 minutes. Break out the books. It's like 3-5 all over again.
Okay, so
I was
these...
gonna say, speaking of 3-5, you could have, what is it? Anthropomorphic beluga whales.
Nice.
That was definitely in the back of savage races somewhere.
somewhere. There's a
good.
lot of stuff in that in 3.5. So, are we thinking? So you said society organized. Is this like? Are we gonna go like Inuit? Are we gonna go coastal Mongol? Or are we thinking more Russian style, cold waters?
We are Comrade Walrus. We live here. We protect with mustache.
As a fan of Legend of Korra, I definitely like Inuit.
Some strange fermented like seaweed for alcohol.
I grew
Hey,
up
they're
learning
walrus.
about.
I think they deal with it.
Yeah,
Does seaweed have the necessary?
I don't know, but if you throw enough magic into it, you could probably get
I mean,
it somehow.
yes, yeah.
When in doubt, magic.
When in
Welcome
doubt,
to
magic
tabletops.
out. Okay, so is Inuit kind of the idea then?
hmm
I'm cool with Inuit.
I grew up with learning about a surprising amount of Inuit mythology in school. There's
Considering that's like
definite-
to your immediate west.
yeah, north.
Oh,
No.
wow, fair.
They are
Northwest.
even more north than myself.
Well, I
Which
didn't know
means-
that was possible.
Yeah,
means-
More
right.
north than Canada? No. No,
they're
can't do
even
that.
more crazy. Well, then that's Alaska.
Yeah.
Seaweed can be turned into alcohol, by the way. Apparently, it can be made to make a type of gin.
Oh,
Nice.
good to
Well,
know.
all right.
Gin drinking Inuit Walrus-men.
Good.
All right. It would also be cool if maybe they warned the original settlers of Fargon that they shouldn't go that way. And then they did. And that's
And then they did.
very Roanoke. Something happened and no one knows why those settlers disappeared.
Oh man, now that's something that's close to my neck of the woods.
Oh.
You living in Appalachia?
Yeah, I live in the same state that Roanoke occurred, so it's a thing or two we learned about.
Don't go out that way. There's squidbillies out there.
I mean, one interesting way to account that might be, I don't know, do you intend for this race to be able to have hybrids, like half-elves with humans, perchance? Because just
Right.
having a few of those appear in some of the more northern tribes could kind of allude to what happened.
Or perhaps there's some kind of lycanthrope.
That too.
It's an awkward bite, but I mean,
The were-walrus.
The werewolves.
Oh god.
my neck hurts.
I
Good
don't know.
neck muscles.
I'm not gonna play that.
All
On the
right,
note of stuff like that, if we're playing Inuits, I feel like it would be wrong to not use. I don't know how to pronounce the monster's name. It's Akhlut, and it's from Inuit
Akhlut.
mythology. It's an orca wolf, basically.
No, that sounds cool.
maybe there's a legend about that. We would be
The picture they use in the bestiary is,
dorky.
yeah, kind of doofy in my opinion, but the way they describe them in the actual myth is much more terrifying.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean they just hop right out of the ocean, maul you, and go right back in.
Yeah, there's
Much like
definitely
orca whales do.
yeah, there's definitely more than one of them in the myth.
Mhm. The Amarok is cool too. I think they're from the Inuit mythology as well. I highlighted that monster so long ago on the Around the Hearth. Let's spend the rest of our lives talking about monsters by CR chat.
We could
Thing that
have.
can vital strike at your very soul as long as it can see you. Just look through the scrying mirror and.
Ugh.
So suddenly there's a lot of wolves in this part of the world that aren't wolves. They're more than wolves.
They'd be timber wolves up here.
Winter
They
wolves.
get big.
Winter wolves.
Yeah. Winter
boy.
wolves. Full on wargs.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be something that stalks the northern. That may be why they don't go any further north than far
Well,
gone.
that's just the beginning of what's the AP? You start.
Rhino Winter?
Yes.
So there you go. You just reflavored Reign of Winter for Fargon and the surrounding area.
Abataga! And they are a wizard, and they are bad, and now there is winter time. Russia, fight Rasputin.
Yes, and then you go to Russia in the World War, and you fight the Rasputin.
Do you really end World War One in Rhino Winter? Holy crap. I didn't know that. I knew you fought animated tanks.
Well, I mean,
Whalers.
the wand of suppression is literally a heavy machine gun.
All right. So we've got our aquatic race is going to be indigenous Walrus-men, probably here before Eddard's Hold was established, and they likely never had to deal with the southern threat, considering that they probably just stayed in this northern lake. So they never really had anything to do with that one. Let me see. We've got the aquatic race kind of set, and I do think that is very fun for this particular thing. If we've got Inuits, then I don't necessarily like the idea of half walrus men and half humans walking.
Oh, really?
around.
That's what turned you off of
Yeah.
half Walrus-men?
Yeah.
No, dude, be fine. They don't have to have tusks. They all just look like Vernon Dursley.
But it might be fun if there was some kind of lycanthrope type of situation where they could be mistaked. Maybe there's been misunderstandings in the past.
Or like an animal lord. That doesn't have to be creepy. You don't get bitten by them. You just happen to be like Lord of the Walruses.
Lord of the Walrus.
Lord of the
Or
Walruses.
there could be a walrus. There could be a winter spirit that inhabits this particular area too.
You
Like
keep
Corsair.
saying Lord of the Walrus, and I keep picturing Tom Selleck.
Yeah, he is in fact Lord of the Walrus.
I mean,
Or-
if we have a Pathfinder that has Realm of the Mammoth Lords, then Realm of the Walrus Lords doesn't sound too far off.
See, yeah, we're halfway there. What is a mammoth if not a land walrus?
Huge mammothine walruses roaming the northern tundra.
Yeah, the polar bears run from them.
Yes, they do.
So, like those walruses in Skyrim, the Tuskers,
Oh.
among them one rises with great intelligence and founds their own nation.
I also have to wonder if the walrus is good. Does the walrus have like a bunch of like scary attacks or something?
I don't know. I can't remember. It's been ages since I played Skyrim, but didn't Tuskers like
Orcers?
shoot ice at you?
No, they did not. They just had their tusks all faced directly forward, and there were 3 of them. And they were
No,
creepy.
he's talking
That's
about
right. They are
Warcraft.
orcers. Why am I calling them Tuskers? Because they're tusks.
That's
Because
close enough.
Tuskers are a Warcraft thing, are they not?
They might be.
There's the Tuskar race.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
not.
with you.
It's not featured very heavily, but it's there.
Yeah, and
Well,
I've
they're
never
in North
played
America,
World of
yeah.
Warcraft, so somehow I know about that.
They did it.
So if we've got that very indigenous styled peoples already with the Walrus-men, the elves that we have currently more wild styled elves in Haweda and Ilya, those likely have similar tribal establishments and traditions, but they're likely going to be less Inuit and more, what do you think, Iroquois? Something along
Yeah.
that line?
That makes sense. The Native American tribes of like the Great Northeast.
Yeah, because I would think that would be fundamental. Is like if you're going to have some things related like that, you want them to be related to where they have a basis of living near each other. So that makes sense to me too. The Iroquois were in New York in that upper northeast area, right?
Mm.
And
Roughly.
Iroquois elves would have a rather distinct look to them compared to traditional elves, so you could also differentiate your setting that way.
They would. What if they had tails? That's super random, but like the most of my knowledge about the Iroquois comes from Civilization 5, where in Civ 5, if you played the Iroquois, forest tiles in your settlements would function as roads, which to me says arboreal race, which to me says like a little more like monkey-like. So as if to have like tails or like almost like a Venara elf together.
I don't know. There's
No, the Iroquois become furries.
Not necessarily, Jesus.
No, but they could have a high incidence of skinwalkers.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say they're just skinwalkers,
Mm.
which is a very like Native American flavored piece of mythology.
Yes, it is.
And that would satisfy the lycanthrope ideal.
Yeah. That is literally how you hand lycanthropy to your players without game breaking.
I'm surprised that we've talked about Native American folklore this long without Adam bringing up Wendigos.
I am being
We're
nice.
waiting till you go to bed, Kane.
We're waiting
Yeah.
till
We'll
you
get
go to bed and you look out your basement window and
I'll
and
go
you
get a
see
hacksaw.
you
My
see
legs off on
you
screen.
you see a couple of bloody stumps float by your window and you're like, nope, I'm not going outside tonight. I just thought I was going to the pub.
Okay, that's why I bought beer. The beer is in the house now. I am safe with the beer.
You did it.
Until the
Should've
beer's
gotten
all
some
gone.
Should have gotten some seaweed gin. That would have done better for you.
There you go.
I have never heard of seaweed gin before,
But now you're curious.
but now I'm gonna see if we can order some to my store.
I mean, I've eaten seaweed and it's not bad. I imagine you could.
Super salty though.
I mean,
yeah.
I
To
don't
be
know if-
fair,
I mean,
Make
Adam, have
alcohol.
you seen my diet? It is 30% sodium.
Yeah.
The other sodium and fat.
You know what? If you noticed, I'm eating like pizza right now, and I always get the Alfredo sauce. So yeah, I'm with you there, man.
God.
Oh,
Domino's
it's
has
so
a wonderful
good.
Alfredo sauce.
Alfredo. Okay.
Yeah, when I die, I'm gonna keep showing up to these chats because my body will be so well preserved, you won't be able to tell the difference.
You'll just be really quiet and we'll be like, man, Kane's really quiet today.
Kane's real quiet today.
All right.
I don't know how he keeps tuning in.
That's one of
Spell
those
scene together.
mysteries of the internet.
oh my god,
I
the
would
amount
say in that case it would we would all call this place the Salty Sweet, but that name's already been taken by the FGC. So
Mm.
That sounds so sweet.
All right. So we've expanded a bit on. We now have the aquatic race, and are you? We thinking that they actually live on ice drifts within that lake, or are they going to be on the edges of the lake?
Why not both?
There could be a little bit of both. Are we going to put out there that it stays cold enough at that northernmost part of that lake for that to happen? For that to be viable, I mean?
Well, if we're assuming the lake is freshwater,
Mm-hmm.
then it probably actually freezes fairly thoroughly.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not moving in a river, you usually don't get that sort of like interstitial freezing like we do on the North Saskatchewan. Because we also don't get that in the North Saskatchewan because people throw so many heroin needles in it that I'm pretty sure it raises the pH balance.
Fair.
But like, on a freshwater lake, even something the size of like, maybe not the size of Lake Huron, but like a sizably large body of water, you're going to get fairly deep freezing a ways in offshore. You probably won't get it right in the middle, but definitely, thick enough to drive your pickup truck on for a while.
Hell yeah. All my walruses drive pickup trucks.
And that should be enough to hold one Walrus-man, so there we go.
You just put them all on the bed, it'd be fine. So
Yeah, you can sit out there all day and ice fish. It'd be all right.
Advanced construct chariots is what it is.
Are we wanting these guys... Are we wanting these Walrus-men to be playable, or are they an NPC race, or a monstrous race?
They're playable. Monstrous race, but playable. Something like the Trox.
Well, anything can be playable when you use the Trox as an example.
The Trox is no. That's the Drow Noble, or like 3.5s. Do you want to be a Storm Giant? Sure. Level adjustment +9.
Yeah, here's your natural hit dice. You're gonna be playing as the Storm Giant with no class levels for the first 8 levels.
Fortunately, you'll be much better than everyone else.
Well, early on, it doesn't take long for a party to start outpacing a monster.
Yeah,
Assuming you get party loot, though, that's a different story.
for sure.
But that is
Yeah,
not
make them
what's
like
happening
a
here.
25, 26, 27 point monstrous race that it's playable.
You could probably keep him beneath that. The ogre's only 23.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, even if you made them large actually doesn't cost as much as people might think in the race builder.
Costs
But-
It costs more than I feel like it should, though.
But
Yeah.
with that, having a reach on top of that only costs an additional 8.
yeah.
It costs 8 total.
I can't imagine hold breath, which something a walrus would have, would be that expensive, and then like natural attacks would set them back 4 or 5 to make them big enough.
But cold resistant might set you back a little
Fine,
bit.
they don't need it. They all dip 1 level of internal alchemist. They can spend around to hold their breath for 1 hour per constitution point.
Yeah, there you go.
They definitely have a con boost. But we're not building a race. We're building something else.
Cold resistance 5 is only 1 race point.
Oh, see? Woo,
The natural
we could
armor's
totally
not
do
much
it.
either.
Well,
Blubber.
the race, the elves need the natural armor boost. That was something that we discussed last time. Was that elves here live in the cruciferous trees, and their skin has become slightly barky.
Look like a
we
pseudo bark
wanted, we
skin.
wanted them to be a lot more arboreal.
Seems good to me.
I like it when my elves reflect much of what the nature that they live in. It makes them feel much more fey.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of like the Bosmer in ESO. I keep saying ESO, and I should say the Elder Scrolls. A lot of my friends play ESO.
Yeah,
But that kind of thing, how they're very like in tune with their environment.
definitely. So we've got that.
And short.
On the map, there is a very large tree in the north that we need to do something with. It's very, very large, like redwood style large.
Oh, probably bigger than that. I mean, if it's
No.
a hand-drawn map, so everything's obviously not to scale. But assuming it were, this tree is like maybe like 2 miles in diameter. Like, it's a big tree.
When I think of that, I think, is this like a tree that symbolizes anything in this world? Like, how in Norse mythology you have, Yggdrasil, the world tree. Is it like that for this world?
You certainly could.
Is it a magical sleeping cocoon of a Jurassic?
Oh,
Of a huge deposit of unobtainium.
Well, see, if we're going that route, then we need to ask, does this tree eat cars?
Hmm.
That's
I don't know.
Is it Grandmother Willow? Because that's all I see. It's just the scary face of Grandmother Willow watching you in the night.
You know,
There's nothing creepier.
I never found Grandmother Willow very creepy.
Talk to Joe. He will change your mind. I didn't either until he put Grandmother Willow in our Discord, and then just opened it up one day, and there she is. Nightmare fuel.
He picked the most sinister frame of the entire Pocahontas Disney movie of Grandmother Willow's face, just going like, "Oh!"
With those black eyes staring into your soul. Yeah, you did.
So that is.
But
that is also a
Josh has a
possibility.
point. The tree in a lot of cultures and of life and in Norse mythology, that's where we're going when the world ends.
Right.
And if the world is ended to the south, there may be some kind of tie-in there somewhere. Like maybe like some kind of powerful super fruit tree that survives the perennial winter in such a way that people can still sustain themselves.
Well, pine needle.
There could be a breed of coniferous tree that like bears an edible berry.
Well, there is the idea of it being a very, very, very large breed of pine tree, and the reason that people go there is that the fruit, the nuts, the pine nuts that come off of it, are very nutritious, but they only come off at certain times, perhaps, or that's
And
the
the
only
size of Volkswagens.
Perhaps that's the only source of food during winter.
It's a thought.
It gets so bad that if you don't have any kind of stored food put away, you will die in the probably 6 months, 8 months of winter that this place gets, based upon what we're talking about.
I mean, if we're living real northwards, it's probably like 7 to 9 month winter.
Yeah. So that southern threat only creeps a little bit closer each year. But that could definitely be a possibility. I will make a note, and we will tree food.
Huge conifer, in brackets, you're gonna love my nuts.
It's a giant Pokemon tree, and it's where all the pine cones come from.
Oh no, that's so much worse. They all know self-destruct.
You know, it's called self-destruct, but they never show them actually die. So
They faint.
Well, that's because it's Pokemon, and you can't kill small animals.
Pokemon.
I don't think I would have agreed with all of my very Christian friends who wouldn't watch Pokemon because they thought it was demonic.
Oh my god!
If the electrodes, like literally fucking like guts
Oh
everywhere.
my god! Yeah, that was my friend. He had to give me all of his Pokemon games once because his grandmother convinced his mother that it was Pokemon. The Mon was for demon. You know, demon. Yeah, no, it was ridiculous.
I mean, that sounds like a great investment for you. I'm not
Oh
gonna
yeah, I got a lot.
lie.
I got a lot out of that friendship.
I made it off like a bandit, but like that was dumb.
I mean, I'm still friends with that guy. It's just like, oh god, I feel terrible for you.
Yeah.
So you're
Do you
saying
want
you
to-
got a first edition Charizard out of that?
No,
Holographic.
I have one of those somewhere. I have a Venusaur somewhere. I don't know where it is though.
All right. Well, it's not a Pokemon tree. We did talk about this place having a heavier tie to the two certain courts of Fae, or at least the Fae wilds in a certain way, and that tree might be the anchor for that chain.
Like a giant gate to the first world.
Yeah, but that might be
Okay.
something. That might be something that the PCs don't know about yet.
Well, that is one thing to put in your world for sure, though, is the way to the next world. That's very clearly like, go here, it or this, but maybe it's not super accessible for XYZ reason.
It's not super accessible until the tree finds you worthy to enter, i.e., it's a high-level area.
Yeah, it's the beef gate.
Well, yeah.
You have to fight the tree first.
Okay,
It's like
so
a
see, now
2 mile
that
tall
is-
tree, and you gotta climb up like a mile to find a huge knot in it, and that's just the portal to the Feywild.
I'm pretty
Huge.
sure that's a level in the Golden Sun Game Boy Advance RPG. I distinctly remember a giant tree.
Yeah, it is, Tommy. I played that game also.
Nice.
I was going to say an aspect you might consider is that if it's a high level area that it's not easy to access, one of the reasons it might be is because there's a special group of individuals that are tasked with guarding the tree, protecting the tree, and I'm kind of thinking about Fallout 3 for a second, where there's the area that protects Harold.
Oh no. My instinctive reaction to hit the right trigger and burn the creepy tree man. It still triggers 10 years later. Hasn't gone anywhere.
Don't kill Harold.
But he's scary!
You know how
Good
long
ask
he's
to
lived?
die.
See, you and Joseph have just been like horribly scarred. You should have
Trees.
terribly biased about like trees with faces.
Man, I guess.
But that's definitely something that we can hone in on, having that be a trial for the higher level guardsmen, Kane, that get trained at the RBWY training
They get
grounds
trained
or
in an
whatever.
anime?
I mean, dude, you're the one with the map in front of you. I have an excuse. You're not screen sharing.
So I am going to have to go buy seasons 1 through 5 on Blu-ray like I've been thinking about the last week or so.
You gotta do it.
I don't know. I like the trucker idea, the trade route idea for making runs and dodging all the bears, i.e. the giants or whatever the southern threat is, along that road. But
Could just be bears. You're literally just driving through Canada.
So this is Death Road to Canada now. Okay, then.
Well,
I know I said
No.
before that there are a lot of bears here, but it's not that bad. You're
It's
not
not
like
that
literally
bad.
swerving around grizzlies on the freeway.
that will
You
be
might
the
be in some parts of Canada, though.
no. That would be the moose, eh?
Moose will fuck up your car. Moose will fuck up your truck.
Moose will mess you up.
You don't
better
swerve
watch it.
around the moose. You stop. The moose will leave, then you keep going.
Yep.
Don't mess with the moose.
They are big and spooky.
But they taste
A
good.
full
I've heard.
700-pound pissed off flank steak. That will
Yeah, I'll tell you
ruin
what,
your
you
radio.
do not want to mess with Bullwinkle when he's in a bad mood.
That's right.
They're about the length of a van and a half. We established that in the lost episode of House Divided.
It's a big animal.
We're doing
Rocky
break.
ticked Bullwinkle off one too many times. There's no more Rocky anymore.
Here's something I think you'll really enjoy.
Me getting killed by a moose.
Oh no, Bullwinkle. All right.
Awesome squirrel.
Oh no, we can't do that because then I'm going to put PCs in here that are half moose men. That
That's
are
not the worst idea.
I mean, that's just more skinwalkers. really.
yeah.
Yeah. hmm
You know it.
Or like hunters that take the deer aspect, and so the other aspects for like the move speed and stuff are shifters.
Yeah, shifters and stuff like that. Very common among the elves that we have up here, and it might even be more common for them to stay in their animalistic form than it would be their elven form, because
Sure,
it's
because
so
who are they
much-
hiding from?
it's so much more utilitarian, perhaps to the point where the original people that started to settle in Eddard's Hold didn't even realize that they were elves. They just thought they were
Strange pointed-eared monkeys.
just thought they were some kind of, well, there are moose men up there, or there are eagle men up in the coniferous trees, or this or that, until they realized they weren't. They were just a bunch of shape-shifting elves.
So it's like when Alexander the Great went to the Indus River Valley, saw monkeys for the first time, and thought they were just a strange kind of people that were making fun of them. So he killed a lot of monkeys.
Well, to be fair, monkeys' attitudes, they probably deserved it. But,
Yeah.
all right. Let me see how we are. We've got a little bit more time left.
We're tracking at 38:35 on the stream.
Okay. So, we've established a bit about the elves, and let me see, more common to see shifted.
Oh, I haven't been paying attention. Buffalo was in the stream chat.
Buffalo.
Buffalo!
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Should there be buffalo men? That would be really cool. They're more of a Great Plains thing, though.
Yeah.
They come down into the not frozen area.
I mean, I don't want to get too higgledy-piggledy with the animal men.
This isn't a Tommy world where it's animal people from warrior cultures with knowledge nature.
All over.
I mean, we could. I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying, like we've got Walrus-men and Moose-men and Eagle-men and
all those Eagle men and Moose men were just shifted elves. So I mean, I don't know if they count.
We got Mammoth Lords riding Megaloceros.
Good.
Could have a lot of synthesists in there just literally wearing the skins of the animals of the area.
Yeah, I did that once. Sweet. It's Bren from Tommy's game, says Buffalo52.
So, we've got that north part culture started to work around. Now, Eddard's Hold is that mismatch of a bunch of different cultures from it being a penal colony a long time ago. I still advocate that it was taken over by the halflings that got exiled there for being bad pickpockets. But I mean,
what you're describing is Canada.
But you weren't hobbits.
No, but we were technically a penal colony.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's just Canada. We're making a fantasy Canada. But everybody's not polite, so it can't be real Canada.
Yeah,
So
the difference is it was hot in Australia, and everybody got more crude. And it was real goddamn cold here, and everyone was like, hey, if you're not nice to me, I won't share my blanket with you, and you'll freeze to death. So we got real polite about it.
yeah, that they haven't reached that polite part yet, though. So it hasn't really gotten that way yet. Perhaps not. Anyway.
No, it's very Revenant. Everybody's just running around fighting bears, getting mauled.
Oh yeah, I read a story once, a true story about a guy that went up during the Alaskan gold rush. Stuff was brutal.
Mm.
So, this between Foothold and Fort Guardhold Barracks and Training Ground, because you have to say the whole name when you talk about it. There's that stretch of road there with the foothills, and we've got Eddard's Hole and all that southern road there, and then we have all this in the north, but we don't have anything in this kind of central right portion of the map. It's kind of blank, not necessarily empty it is empty, but it's not necessarily empty for a reason. There's perhaps a plain there. That might be where most of the grazing is that you can access when it's summer, maybe? I don't know. I don't imagine that you'd have a lot of grazing animals up this far.
It depends. Are we far enough north that there's permafrost?
Up by Fargon and Hoeda, probably.
Oh, yeah. But that's again like 200 miles north of a bunch of our southern settlements.
Right.
Yeah, and we've also established that there's a gigantic tree with pine cones that feed all the people. What does a moose giraffe look like? Because that could be a thing, right?
It looks like a giraffe whose neck breaks immediately because its antlers are too heavy.
See, now we are doing Legend of Korra because there's hybrid animals now.
It looks like somebody took a
hybrid.
bunch of LSD and went and played Spore. And
They make a joke in Last Airbender about what the King of Bossing say, who has a bear. Not a platypus bear, not a beaver bear, not a giraffe bear, just a bear, and everybody's like, "What do you mean it's just a bear?"
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Well, then they kind of do that joke again in Legend of Korra because that's what Varric steps into the platypus bear suit and poops money.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, not a fan of. I like Airbender, but not Korra. That's just me, though.
Well, yeah, that's a failure on your part.
And that's a failure on the show's part. Yeah.
Well, I something else that they feel
Oh
like.
man, Kane.
Okay.
There are words being thrown.
I'm just saying, man. Bending as a sport.
Yeah, I mean,
I
people
thought that
make
was kind
sport
of
of
a
anything.
I respect him having a more Tenzin leaning view. I respect that.
Bending would be a sport, though, if it's such a common thing.
Would it be
Coming
that?
from someone who's never seen Avatar.
I mean,
Like,
if
of
you
course
look at
you'd
bending
monetize
as a
it.
way for people to fuck each other up real bad, this is hockey, boxing,
Yeah,
UFC.
but do you?
Literally any professional sport where fighting is allowed. Football, like basketball. People beat the shit out of each other in basketball. You're not even supposed to touch each other.
Baseball.
But the point is, would that sport look like that if bending? That's a dumb sport. The bending sport in Korra is dumb. I'm
We'll
just saying.
give you, like, there should be more deaths in professional bending because they're straight up whipping stone discuses at each other.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, that will leave some
They-
damages. That will do some effects.
No one dies. Korra played it far too safe. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, that's
Died in Avatar.
yeah. See, people died in Avatar.
Spoilers.
I mean,
Tiki
what
said
did
he
you
was
say?
going to give me the spoilers
did.
of Avatar.
We
I haven't
just
seen
talked about the unambiguous murder-suicide that happens at the end of the first season.
Yes,
Oh,
but
okay,
that
good.
was that is one thing that Korra did well.
Oh,
that part
one.
right there.
You mean
that,
the one with the waterbenders? Oh yeah.
the brothers.
Oh,
yeah,
that was a dark
Amon and his
scene.
brother.
What I'm establishing here, Adam, is that you're a bloodthirsty monster and you are only satiated by death.
Classic.
Fair.
I'm trying to get past.
the Earth Queen get choked out. Like,
No, not even choked out, like forcibly suffocated by an airbender.
yeah, and
What-
then
but
when that almost happened to Korra. She suffers PTSD for like the rest of her life. Like,
To be fair, Korra suffers PTSD about a lot of things.
Yeah,
I mean, granted,
that's
it
honestly
got
true.
her, her future wife, but
yay, sympathy dating. All right,
Why are we talking about?
we're not supposed to be
Because
talking
that's what
about
happens
Legend
in all
of
these
Korra.
chats. We go devolving. Used to be back in the day, Kane and Adam and I would do this like 3 a.m, and then I would pass out and wake up at 6 a.m.
yeah, it's
Those
inevitable.
were good times.
At some point, the chaos just springs through.
It
All
does.
right,
And that's actually
So-
what Jason says in the chat. He says gnomes. Lots of chaos.
all right. Well, gnomes? Nah. Well, you haven't brought in any gnomes. They're probably in Elden Han at the most part.
I mean, if
wonder,
there's a connection to the first world, there's a connection to gnomes.
presumably, but not necessarily.
Or like the Gathlin.
Drastically different from the gnomes you know. It's very hard to be zany and off the wall when you're super focused on not freezing to death.
Yeah.
No, dude, they just have the most like beautiful patchwork blankets of
I
many
was just about to
colors.
say they have the most epic snow cones, but sure, that works too.
Also that.
But the problem with gnomes is you don't know what color snow you can eat. So, I mean,
Prestidigitation is my answer to that. Keep
All
the
right.
color, remove the urine.
so okay.
Stays yellow.
Jesus.
Yeah,
That
want
is
a
not
t-shirt.
really.
I want a t-shirt that says prestidigitation. Keep the color, leave the urine.
So,
Ugh, gross. All the gnomes are Bear Grylls.
all right. So,
Better drink my own piss. Dude, we have basic spellcasting stuff. You're being disgusting.
There is a river right there. Please stop.
We have a cleric in the next town over, for God's sake. Hold on a second.
Just wait, Jesus. Now, you know something else you could bring into a place like this, since it's always cold? I don't know exactly how you'd want to tie it in, but we were talking about the avatars for a second. Somewhere where, like, the art of cryokinesis is practiced and mastered. Like, step one being travel to this place and live in this very cold place and learn to live with the cold, stand in the cold, harness the cold. And from that, you are the cold, right? That kind of thing. Maybe
so-
not necessarily the kineticists, but you could also do like boreal sorcerers or Arctic druids, people that are like even like a differently flavored winter witch, because we've already ripped on Reign of Winter enough, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
I like the Winter Witch.
The Wonder Witch is a very good archetype, yes. Or rather,
I
prestige
was
class?
about to say,
Well-
are we talking about the archetype or the prestige class?
Well, you have
Yes.
to be one to be the other, so both.
Wait, you do?
That's right, yeah,
Yeah,
you do.
you have to be one to be the other.
Yep.
That's
But-
painful.
It is kind of painful because you can't diversify your portfolio.
I think
But
it's white-haired witch becomes Winter Witch, I think. Yeah.
Love you, Paizo.
sure, love you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Jason.
Thanks, Jason, for fortune, misfortune, cackle. That's all you needed.
All right.
Rest is whatever.
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask you, like, hey, if is the witch still worth playing? If you were just like, no sleep, X, no sleep.
If you take off sleep, do you still have fortune, misfortune, cackle?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still
Then it's still playable. And even if you take away those, you're still a tier 1 full caster. You just don't have the ability to trivialize every combat forever.
I mean, you
Like
have
I've been thinking in
Ally.
a lot of my APs, I've been thinking about either just outright banning those hexes or just targeting the witch into the ground, and I'm leaning towards just ban those hexes. Because like Adam and Cain, no, that will shut a game off really fast.
Yeah,
Just-
it can.
the witch is like a real bad one-trick pony, but they're real good at that trick.
That trick is amazing. That trick
But-
wins.
That's in Paizo, not necessarily in the others.
Fair.
And we're system neutral in this particular one because we're trying to make this for everybody.
That's fair.
So-
Quick, someone say a 5e thing.
Advantage, disadvantage.
Oh, that's
Champion.
Witch's name.
Champion fighter.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Love.
Fighter
Well.
in general in 5th edition. Ugh.
All right. So
I mean, I'm playing a character in 5th edition, but it's like she's a level 5 barbarian, and I mean, everything that I'm doing with her is in general stuff you can do with barbarians and Pathfinder, except she doesn't get fatigued after X rounds of raging. She just gets, rage powers, and the buff she gets isn't as much.
So say if Green Witch Colony's Barbarian. I was going to take Enlarge for you, but I can't because it's the same bonus as Rage.
all right.
So boo.
So we've got a lot of the north. We got some of the south finished up as far as the culture for maybe Shinneker, and we don't have any culture for Foothold, but that's mainly just a trade foothold between the dwarves and the maybe humans. I don't know. I'm sure that there's humans here. I just fine, Kane.
Humans
Fine.
tend to be the
They
cock.
wouldn't all be. You wouldn't have a prison full of nothing but halflings. It's just a bad idea.
That's why that's not a prison anymore, because it was a bad idea.
I mean, is that not how the Shire was formed? All the halflings got sent really far to the west, and they found this really nice land, and they cultivated it, and they grow a bunch of weed.
Nope.
And
That's
then
not-
they
no.
go.
I have not read the similar on, so I don't know.
At least Josh gives me the benefit of the doubt. Everyone else just, nope.
Like,
Nope.
that's
definitely not how that happened.
that's a question Stephen Colbert would know.
Yes, he would. He would also be sitting there going, nope.
Well,
Nope,
Stephen
nope.
Colbert, if you watch our videos, leave it in the comments. How about
Yeah,
that?
if you're ever real bored at 2:00 in the morning, you're tired of sleeping in bed with your beautiful wife and your wonderful family. Yeah, you just hop on Twitch and
That's fair.
All right. Well, next time then we can talk a bit more about perhaps the cities and their their organization, maybe we might say. I don't know if we'll go into like fully diagramming one, but maybe putting one on paper perhaps or something like that. And we can decide which one we want to start at before the next chat, which will not be next week. I apologize for people that wanted to see it next week, but next week, Tuesday, is Christmas, and that's when we record these. So, there
You guys
go.
and your families.
Sheesh, your families and your get-togethers and your belonging and your Christmassy stuff.
Must be nice.
All right. Now, I am
to make
going...
you feel any better, I'm bailing on Christmas dinner like the second it's done to go get drunk with my friends.
Good.
Yeah,
Well done.
I'm
Proud of you.
I am a celebrator of Festivus myself.
Josh and I will be playing a playtest game with Jason GMing it. I'll
I'll be
probably get
stuck in the
Chinese food.
ocean.
Oh, you poor thing, going to the Caribbean.
all right. Well, I can't switch over to the chat, so I'm just going to have to say, have a great day. God bless and enjoy. Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Bye. Merry
Bye.
Christmas.
I
Merry
only have to
Christmas.
click one button.
Happy Yule.
This content was made possible by the generous support of patrons and travelers like you. Thank you.